Hey, how y'all doing? It's your boy Shack House. I'm sorry I've been away for a long time. Really sorry about that. Some issues in my personal life and other podcasts that I've been doing have kept me from coming back to what I love the most. My Marvel stuff and my Marvel fans out there. So today I'm going to give you a complete rundown on one of my favorite characters ever. Everett Thomas, Synch from Generation X. Yeah, and currently a member of the X-Men too. Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters from back then because he represents a positive black character, not a stereotype, one I can personally identify with. Black, middle class, and it's such a cool power. What's his power? His power is actually a reversal of what Paul Mooney once said on Chappelle's show. How the black man in America is the most copied man on the face of the planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. Well, Synch's power, that's kind of the reversal of that. So just watch, sit back, and I'm going to educate you on what Everett Thomas, aka Synch, can do. Enjoy! Everett Thomas was a 16-year-old living in middle-class St. Louis, Missouri when his mutant powers manifested. But unlike most mutants, he was actually thrilled to discover that he was a mutant. He knew that he was different, and he enjoyed it. But what is his mutant power anyway? Synch's mutation, his synchronistic aura, is both his mutant power and the expression of it. But the what aura? The synchronistic aura. What is that, though? The synchronistic or mutagenic aura is the radiant but typically invisible energy signature produced as a byproduct of the X gene. This energy signature is unique to each mutant and is what Cerebro scans for when searching for mutants. This energy is also the biological power source that fuels a mutant's powers and abilities, whether those powers and abilities are energy related or not. All mutants possess this aura and it surrounds them at all times. But unlike most mutants, Synch, he can actively feel and manipulate his own aura, and through it, he can feel the aura of other mutants. His aura, which manifests itself visually as a rainbow effect, functions similarly to a divining rod, aiming itself towards other mutant presences. He can use it to pinpoint other mutants in his immediate area and is sensitive enough to differentiate between familiar or new mutant signatures. It can give him a general direction of any nearby mutant he wishes to focus on and can lead him to that mutant even through the winding tunnels of the New York sewer system. His aura also enables him to perceive other people who are out of sync with our dimensional plane, functionally invisible. However, the primary use of his aura is to synchronize it to that of other mutants' auras and then duplicate it, allowing him to mimic the mutant powers of any mutant within his range. He can either manifest these new powers personally or conduct the mutant power signature through his aura, causing it to function in new and different ways. For example, he can do this directly. Everett can produce a sonic scream from his throat like Banshee, project fireworks like Jubilee, or manifest increased mass and super strength in addition to super senses and a healing ability from Sabretooth. But conversely and typically, Synch chooses to manifest powers through his aura when the physical mutations involved are potentially hazardous or too difficult for him to control. For example, initially with Chamber, he would have his aura mimic Chamber's bioblasts instead of doing so directly himself, realistically to avoid blowing out his chest as Chamber did when his mutant powers first manifested. Similarly, his aura created a force field instead of mimicking Penance's diamond-hard, razor-sharp skin directly. And it created an energy ram instead of manifesting Hemingway's tremendous size and strength to avoid his potentially unsettling physical mutations. As Synch became more confident and adept in the use of his powers, he began testing his powers more, like duplicating Chamber's powers directly, manifesting Chamber's bioblast through his hands, and even using his powers for flight. Although he doesn't require physical contact to sync with their powers, the further away he was from a mutant, the more difficult it was for his aura to properly replicate their abilities. His death occurred because M, Monet St. Croix, was too far away for him to fully adapt her invulnerability power into himself. And once he needed skin to snake his elastic skin in close enough to touch before mimicking his power. Once he has a solid lock on a mutant's energy signature, though, Synch can maintain those adopted powers for an extended period of time, up to at least 24 hours after he leaves the presence of the original mutant. He's also able to hold multiple mutant abilities simultaneously. He's also capable of using his aura to absorb mutant bioenergy passively, processing it through his system. This capability made Everett practically immune to the harmful effects of any mutant energy projected at him. He once absorbed a combined bioblast of both Chamber and Banshee's energy signatures without discomfort or injury. And finally, before his death, there was some evidence that his powers could be extended beyond merely interacting with mutant energy signatures. He demonstrated certain enhanced perceptions at times, such as sensing the buildup of a mechanically activated teleportation beam moments before it whisked away his opponents, and he synced up with a living mist to see through it into an other dimensional realm that mist acted as a gateway for. He also manifested the powers of Spider-Man as well too. Now, when Charles Xavier and Magneto established the mutant nation-state of Krakoa and had methods created to resurrect dead mutants, Synch, because of his power replication ability, was given top priority. Since being brought back after nearly 20 years have passed, he seems to have psychologically adjusted to his place in the world and has taken on a role as a member of the X-Men. Recently, he received an upgrade in his powers. It has been shown that he can sync up with non-mutant superhumans so as to replicate their powers as well, and he can even retain the powers that he copies as well, though the exact nature of his powers' evolution remains unclear. Now, mind you, Hope Summers, who's an Omega-level mutant, and her power is to manipulate and activate other mutant powers, she's been called the voodoo doll of the mutant race. Well, Synch, he's been living up to his potential that's been spread around since the days in Generation X. He can now keep the powers he copies, any power he copies. He's got Omega-level mutant potential, and fuck being a voodoo doll, he's the Swiss Army knife of the mutant race. That's all I got now. Tune in next week. You'll see what I got then. Later, folks.
Shack house. Yes!